that's no, and they're going to hospital.
Really excited about the problem, but I want to get
Right.
the basics one and another.
The ones.
No, no.
Our president will bring it down, seating. Tornado year. It is something.
What you learned with the last one, because of the voice, bigger, yes, we could make sure that, okay, everything got good for the recording, so we can hear it when I make my minutes.
They're rebuilt. We just got into it. Actually, the insurance company bought them. And, about 3 months ago. And I'm done.
And it is 5:30.
The basement.
Well, George is chair, he's not here, she's not here yet. Do you want to start with her?
Well, technically, I'm gonna be here, I gotta know.
Actually, 6. Lydia's on there.
Yeah.
Olivia Benstu and Grace. Yeah, she popped in.
Oh, I have.
I'm here.
Every.
Didn't hear back from her.
I'm actually chair.
So there you go.
So I'll go ahead and call us to order. We are here for the quarterly Properties and Service Committee meeting. Introduction of board and guests. Tim Kemp, board. Cindy Board, my board.
Ed Van Healy board.
Amanda George staff.
Robin Myers staff.
Aaron Martin, job one, and also a temporary resident of this.
Dorothy McNamara, staff.
In White staff.
Mireya Camarillo, staff. Jillian Braun, staff. Melinda Barnett, staff. I'll call out those on line. Tom Holcomb, staff. Stewart, board.
Stu May, board.
Robin Myers, oh, that's you. Roger Montero, staff. Ben Keisner.
Ben
board.
Kissner, board.
Marvin, staff. Lindley Willoughby, staff. And is that Lydia?
Mhm.
Lydia, board. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Marvin Blake,
That would be me.
that would be you.
Evening, everyone.
Evening.
I have before me the quarterly facility update for August 16th, which actually it's the months prior. 8511 general maintenance is needed, but we're going, I've scheduled our preventative HVAC next week in this building, and it's a 2-day operation. We go into these units pretty thoroughly and hose them down. And we're right into the middle of this heat. So our timing has to be crucial when we shut this down as far as our temperature rise and fall in the building. So that's kind of why I brought that up. It's kind of a big deal in my world when we go up there, because the unit on the roof is about the size of a large school bus. So when you go messing with that stuff, you want to make sure you're precise and detailed. 8508, we had some minor problems with the flush handle, And then we just general maintenance as needed. We are getting ready to do a lighting upgrade in the office side of that building. At DOT, we had a unit that we've been working on for a while. We've had some pressure switches go bad on it left and right, and they finally, I think, got it right. But because it failed again, that then affected the thermostat in the conference room. But so far, we've got that all corrected. We had a door that we repaired sticking. Could be some minor settling. I'm seeing some out into the sidewalks. I don't know that it's affecting the building or not, but we need to keep an eye on that. Of course, with the drought, I think we're doing better on it though, because we are getting rain. And we had a women's toilet that was running, but we caught it out in the parking lot and got it fixed. It was no big deal. Wasn't very fast. General maintenance as needed and called in. Now we've had several lights repaired, and we have a set of lights that I actually had rewired, and still there's a ground short in it. So we're thinking maybe there's a feeder line going into one of the canopies that's bad. But they can only work at certain times, and we wanted to make sure that before I hire and have electricians sitting out there on the clock, that we narrow it down a little closer than just some wires. That's at DOT. Blue Springs office, minor plumbing issues. We are scheduled for our HVAC prevent maintenance at the Blue Springs location next week also. That unit has heat pumps and it's all electric, so it is kind of unique to the rest of our facilities. Again, that's scheduled. We did get our new roof and gutters, and it's awesome. Our fence is removed. We can have all of our property line now. We were shorting ourselves about 30 feet, well, a total of probably 250 feet, but 30 feet wide, which now we've reclaimed with this fence removal. And it just opens it up a lot better back there. It's a good thing. Rainbow 2, general maintenance as needed. I work real close with Jacob from CDD, and he's on top of that out there. And we do have some issues, but I'm thinking we'll be able to ride that out until the 2024 budget. It's mainly concrete. We've done what we can as far as to remove the safety hazards, but in order to really do it right, it's going to need to be torn out and removed. It's old concrete. But that we've settled that we can hit that on the 2024 budget. Southeast, here again, flush valves on toilets seem to be kind of a basic thing, especially at Southeast. We've always had variance in water pressures, even through our regulators, but we get a lot of contaminants through there. The pump house is literally located maybe 2 blocks to the south of our facility, and when those pumps surge and the water pressure always fluctuates through there, it puts debris in our line. So every once in a while we go and we clean out the backflow, the catch filters and stuff, but sometimes they get by. We find all kinds of objects in the flush valves of the toilets, so it's an ongoing thing, really. We've had some minor drain problems that was taken care of, and general maintenance as needed at Southeast. We are looking at getting a new hatch for the roof. The hatch has had one cylinder down for a long time, and I believe tomorrow we're going to get the final measurements and hopefully a comprehensive bid that we can get the hatch replaced. It's quite a hazard. It's a hazard to put a ladder up that far, but I feel it's more of a hazard to use the hatch the way that it is. That's at Southeast. Blue Valley, we've replaced rollers on a dock door so it would fully open, and helped them schedule with Jade for their fire system per letter that was sent by the city. They have a system called Compass, and we try to keep up with that and inform. Sometimes they get the notices, sometimes we don't. So we've got that scheduled up. There was thermostat replaced, and we're replaced a rooftop unit. we've been chasing this thing for over a year. We put stop leak in it, seemed to help. But the thermal expansion valve finally cut loose in the rear of it. So we just had that replaced on the unit. I know it says the unit, but we had the TPX replaced. DPI Independence, same thing, general maintenance, where we went in and were able to, we did the drilling and we put the foam underneath of it. It was kind of cool to watch because we had levels setting everywhere. And when the guy was injecting it, you could actually see the concrete move, which was pretty cool. But what we found out is the thicknesses of that pad vary from 1.5 inches to 4.5 inches. It's nothing like we thought was underneath there. We were kind of expecting to find big voids and, you know, some large thickness, but it didn't happen like that. It was kind of wild. So I'm really glad that we went in there and stabilized that foundation and the floor, the pad that it sets on there. And then rumor has it that Rebecca has her flooring guy lined out so that they can go in there and get their new tiles in. And we're excited to take care of that finally. DPI-KC, there's some minor repaired thermostats, and we had to send a plumber out to snake out the men's shower line. We all know what gets caught in shower drains, and so I don't need to bring that up. But anyway, it was taken care of and just general maintenance as needed. And we did have a car go through a handrail down there. And I removed the damaged part of the handrail so that it's safe, but still it's kind of questions on our big project down there as to we may need to set some ballards up off of the circle there off of Wabash. Ability KC, roof leaking in several places. Light pole was ripped down. It wasn't a light pole, it was a whole series of lights. Our friends from the shelter that now use our building as sometimes their shelter, it looked like somebody jumped up and grabbed a hold of it and pulled it all down. And when I got down there, there was just bare wires and stuff hanging. It wasn't hot because they had actually jerked the power lines out of the junction boxes and everything. And it was just, so I went down and secured it, but I had it mounted above the steel grate so that you can't jump up and grab the pipes anymore. And the lights are kind of recessed up into the steel grate. It doesn't give you the blanket light out as before. It just gives you more downlighting, but it does light up the front of the building. So it is still doing its purpose. And so far, so good. The lights and everything were there. They were just broken and damaged. Usually they'll take the stuff and recycle it, but they probably realized after they grabbed a hold of it that galvanized conduit's not really worth a lot. We had a area out front of the main drive that gave way. We had one on the west side of the building. There was grates from an old drain built way back in the horse and buggy days. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it, but the front ones failed also. So I went down, removed the grates and filled that up with compaction gravel. And it's about, it's probably dropped about 1 inch now. So I'm going to put a surface on it because I can't leave it like that this winter. Snow plow and stuff will just rip into that and it'll be gone. So that's one of my projects when it's not 1,000 degrees outside. And that should be in a couple of weeks, but it's safe now and they've been driving over it and helping me compact it. So it's a good thing. I've also met with the manufacturer and the roofer and a third-party consultant. And we all had a party on the southeast roof. And I think we're going to finally get some action on some of these warranties that I've been They've been sending me a pallet of material and expecting me to get on these roofs to fix their warranty. And I've done it to keep the water out of the buildings, but I've been working on this for months now, and finally I just went straight to the manufacturer and I had to use the word attorney. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but all of a sudden I've got cards from all kinds of people all over the country. And so I'm hoping to get all this taken care of. They're unique problems. They say, oh, we've never seen this before. I can't believe that. But I don't want to be rude about it, but I want the roofs fixed and I want the warranty papers in my hand. That's my goal with them. And
Hey,
hopefully that
Marvin?
takes, yes.
I'm sorry, can you tell us which all roofs are affected there? It's not just Southeast, right?
Right. Southeast is a totally different animal. I have Ability KC that for some reason they think birds got onto it and pecked. There's no way birds got onto that roof and pecked the holes in it and stuff. I found a couple of bullet holes, but that's after a good New Year's. I usually inspect and I'll find one or two around there. But those are the main roofs, but those are big time things that need to be taken care of. But the warranty papers affect everything. Now, as far as the roofer goes, I still have a drain that needs to be installed on the roof of 8511 to finish his contract, which I'm trying to get all of those lined up. And it's just been a madhouse, but I want the water out of the buildings like they guaranteed for 15 years. And I think the original roofers that put on the Southeast roof, they did not do their prep correctly. Let's just put it at that. So that's why we're having problems now. Any other questions about my nightmare of roofing? Nolan Manor, general maintenance is needed, but they're building the new fire station next door. And there was this lot, there was some trees and stuff grown out. I don't know if any of you know the property or not, but we have quite a large parcel there. And there was some stuff growing out where you had to pull almost out onto Duncan to see to drive it. And so the city wrote it up as a complaint. And Jacob from CDD, he's an awesome dude. He responded to me and I responded back and we responded to Tom and we got it all worked out, and that's been taken care of. But in the interim, there was a lot to the east that was growing and growing, and we did not, as long as I've been here going on 19 years, I've never ever known that to be mowed by us, and come to find out we own it. So surprise, the property's even bigger than we thought, and now we're helping mow it. So question?
No, I said woohoo.
Yeah, woohoo, I guess. So I suggest that we parcel it out and we sell it as a lot for someone to build a nice house there. That's just my opinion. Might get 40 grand out of it. White Oaks, we had several, it's an ongoing thing with that sprinkler system, but we had several of the sprinkler heads fixed. And that's, like I said, it seems to be an ongoing thing with that system. Recharged the system, applied stain remover to the floor stains, and then general maintenance. We did a generator check today. We had an error on the generator. We were able to manually start it with the push of a button, but that's not how we want this generator to work. So we have our generator guru from CMOs coming out to take a look at it. Lance seems to think it's the Bendix in the starter. And it's a V10, and the cylinders, the way they're compressed, there's not a high compression motor, but it does take some oomph to turn that V10 forward. So we think he thinks it's the Bendix of the starter. So we're going to look into more of that to get that taken care of, because that thing needs to start and run when they need it. Kings Ridge, the sidewalk deterioration, that's gonna be a thing that, like I said, we've taken care of all the safety issues and stuff out there. We'll just need to put that on a 2024 budget. There's some excavation. The wash from the car wash that sits behind that property has been so much over the years that I took a shovel out there and dug down about 2.5 feet. And what do you know? I found a drainage grate. So the whole drain system's been under grass and sod for I don't know how many years. But I discovered it, uncovered it, and so we're gonna need to do some of that work in the back of that property. That's at Kings Ridge. I'm moving on to the completed, like I said, I've already bragged about the new roof, but we got new gutters also. And the fencing removed out at the Blue Springs office, which just, it's awesome. It's made such a difference out there. We discussed the DPI foundation, the exploratory, and we did drill the holes and injected the foam under it. I was able to see the leveling of the actual pad. It was really nice to see it move. My biggest fear was that we did all that and we didn't get any movement out of it, but it moved. Right now, I've found do more due diligence. I'm seeking an engineer, and I've actually got a meeting with one next week. He needs to confirm whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday to get, we'll need before we move forward on the BVI, DPI prospect project, we'll need to get an engineered full set of drawings stamped and signed before anybody will even attempt to bid that as far as apples to apples with that project. So that's my next move. I met with the electrician, had a long meeting with my electrician project manager this morning to go over every project that's out there with us. And he is going to do, he walked our second floor for our upgrade here to get rid of our old T12s and stuff in the building. But he's going to do a new walkthrough with me at Southeast to put new eyes on phase 2, because I have some ideas of how we can cut the number of fixtures and make it affordable to finish phase 2 of that and move into phase 3. That should happen in the next week. We're still getting concrete bids for Nolan Manor and White Oaks for the driveways. They're just monstrous right now. And we're hoping that these companies that are queued up are looking for work and maybe cut us a break. But here again, Jacob from CDD is working alongside of me to get these bids, try to get them secured. I'm working diligently with everybody that I can even get a hold of on these roofs, on the roofing issues. And again, the CD Ridge, Kings Ridge sidewalk, we need to put that on a 2024 budget, because that's going to entail some excavation and uncovering that drain system to really take care of that watershed off that back parking lot. And that seems to be the end of my update.
Sounds like you've been busy.
Always, every day. And these, I tried to give you guys an idea of what we were looking into. It gets a lot more in depth in this, but I think y'all over the years have come to realize that it could change in a day. Every hour it can change. But our main goal is our safety and health, and to keep our buildings up to the standards that we need. And we've done a lot. We've moved a lot on this, that's for sure.
Libya had asked in the chat if the Lee Summit DPI was done yet. Does anybody?
Yeah, that's not our building, but Stu, do you have any update on the Lee Summit DPI location?
I do not.
Yeah.
I would get that through Rebecca.
We're asking Stu.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I've got an update. I went and took a tour of it the other day. It's a gorgeous building. I think they've got a grand opening coming up, what Rebecca told me, in September, and then I think they'll have an open house in October. But it is a gorgeous facility, and it's built for people with disabilities. So I'm excited. There was not any furniture in it at the time. That furniture was due to be delivered here in the next week. So I think their hope is to start the transition over to the new building here in September.
Great. Well, I'm glad to hear that that is going so well, and I'm glad that we don't own it. All right, any other questions for Marvin? Okay, thank you, Marvin. We'll move on
You're
to
welcome.
services quarterly reports.
Can I say something really quick? We did get a proposal from Sarah Mudd at CDD to take ownership of 3 buildings. I was kind of reading through it so I could give you guys a summary of what I think of it when I send it to you, but you'll get that probably tomorrow.
Great. Okay. Yeah, we could narrow down our properties even more. Very good. All right, who's up first for presentation? Trace.
And I'll share, I'm gonna join.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for your report.
Were there any questions? Recording in progress. Ready for that?
No, it was great to have all the objectives and.
Spent a lot of time on meeting with each of the agencies and covering every element, and that was helpful. Before, at the end of last meeting, we had some issues with quarterly, with the outcome data, and so we met with those agencies that were really struggling around data collection, some with targets, and made a lot of changes, but we still have some areas coming back to the second quarter with some agencies. So are we putting up?
Yeah, just one moment.
Okay. Well, first I could just pass this out and I can send it out by email too. This is well, hold on, I'm gonna give you the wrong thing and I don't think so. These are some upcoming dates for the funding application process.
Have we gotten many applications yet?
No, so, they like to wait till the last minute, and this is so new, with the letter of intent. So, so far what we've done is, we posted the letter of intent. We held the question and answer session with folks. We had a lot of people participate in that. We've had it posted, thanks to Dan, the day after, I think, like really quickly. So what we have coming up, and I did put the link here if we needed to go to the website, but you probably have checked that out. It's just where the documents are. Easy to find. These letters are due on August 22nd, so we're waiting for those to come in.
And I will be it's due at 4 o'clock, so I will be putting them into the board site and then sending you guys a link that same day, because then I'm gonna be out of town for a few days, so you will have access to the letters of intent that night, right?
And so the hope is whoever decides to be on the committee, they may change their minds after they here's the process, would read those letters of intent and give feedback. Basically, are there questions that you have that you need answered? Are they letters that are ones that you want to hear more about? And if so, I think we'll just be open to whatever feedback you have, and then send out invitations to the agencies that you want to find or that you want to look at funding. So you may get 4 or 5 letters from places like Job One, who have several programs that we help out with. We've asked them to do separate letters for those. I think we're just trying to get the philosophy first, and what's the program going to look like, and how's it going to help, how's it going to connect with our mission, our values, and our funding priorities that we set. So then we'll need to know probably the feedback about those on September 7th, so that we can get a good list of who are we writing to, and make sure we have all that together for the 11th. We send out the full application to those that we want to hear more from. And the full application will be due on October 6th. So, that'll give us until the 19th and 20th to sort of to read them, but what we really need to do is read them and know who we may want to even see in person before we make decisions. So we're thinking on that 19th and 20th would be a good time to invite some of the providers in if we have any questions or we want to know a little bit more about what they're proposing to do. We don't have to meet with every agency or any agency. It's really going to be up to the committee and the board, who we might just need to know a little bit more from. We might just be real excited about it, just want to hear more. So, and so those meetings will take place on October 19th and 20th, and times are a little iffy at this point. So, we'd like to know what your schedules are, because there are some issues with those dates. Try to work around those. Yeah, I think that's it for the planning application process. So I explained follow up from the first quarter. We did have some meetings right away in April to try to make some changes to some outcomes and get better data collection. And then we had our quarterly meetings with all 18 agencies, and we still had 4 that we're going to work some more with, a few on data collection and a few on their targets a little bit. Some are just struggling to meet those targets. And you might have seen that in the write-up under the outcomes. Of all of the targets, so we have set 68 have been met out of the 100. So, which isn't bad, because a lot of them are like, we still have some surveys coming. We still have, and we have people that wanted to serve 100 people, and so by the end of the year we'll get to the 100. So it can seem a little like we're missing some targets, but I feel confident about the targets. So we're really trying hard to get people to turn their data in on time, and we got 8 out of 18, which is an improvement over the 5 we got the quarter before. So I don't think anybody here has any reason to worry about. You guys did great both quarters. So we are wondering about tying it to funding, but we're going to try a cheat sheet first. Amy's coming up with a little cheat sheet for us, so agencies can just know when their billing date is, know when their target date is. See if that kind of helps. It makes things easier for our accounting department, and I think we have that stuff. So there's a few issues that I wanted to bring up, and then some good things I wanted to talk about specific to agencies. Our Transition Academy, they're really struggling with their data, and that kind of came out in the outcomes report around outcomes, but it's also around their eligibility. And we're a year and a half in, and we don't know who qualifies. We have 4 people so far that's been determined eligible, and that is a worry for me, because going into next year, we really have to see that we're funding a program that's providing a service directly to people that.
It was 2025 second year, and is that right?
Yeah, and we went into this knowing that a lot of the folks don't have support coordination. They've never been connected to the kind of services, and that it was going to be hard to get people connected. But in looking at the information that we received, it's really just summaries of IEPs, which doesn't really tell us anything to tell us if the person is eligible. So we just need more. I'm not sure how we're going to go about getting that, but I've got a meeting tomorrow to talk a little bit more about that. Ability KC, the lowest wages in the state. I have, I think, on the next page, kind of the wages that people make at each workshop in the area.
Which was very interesting.
Yeah, yes, and job one, because of the movement towards community employment, are at that higher rate, and that's amazing. I wouldn't expect the others to be there, because I understand they're not as involved in community employment.
Right.
It's just that being the lowest, and really one of the lowest in the state, has me concerned. And when I look at the quality of the work, I continue to be concerned with people straightening hangers and tearing pages out of books. And so maybe it's.
How many people do they serve?
Around 50, right around 50.
And if I recall, when you asked about looking at other jobs, they were
Well,
bewildered.
yeah, so we did put a few things in. They had moved some people up to lead worker, did some training on some other jobs, but when I actually started getting into what gets you excited about bringing a new business in, it's, you know, are you looking for the work that gets higher wages? Are you looking for quality of work that people would enjoy doing? And that was met with negativity. So not a real negative or a positive response, and not let's see what we can do to improve.
Right.
It is, the quarter seem to be.
But if you,
Is that your survey?
their survey,
Your survey?
and if your experience is only the workshop and that's the only thing you know, and you're not straightening hangers anymore because you're, you know, doing something that you like better than hangers or something, you know, like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's the mindset of the person, like, what experiences do they have? So then, you know, in their contracts this last year, we asked all workshops to talk about that and to say, what are you doing in your own vocation? How are you making sure that people know what's out there and what their options are? And that when it's all said and done, they choose to be where they are, that they want to be in the workshop and doing that job. And that's great. I mean, that is an option and it's a choice. But if people don't know any other choices. So that's what we were hoping for out of those plans were, you know, that people really get informed. WeYellow has a VR training that they come out and it's a dog and pony show for an hour. All the workshops have said it's worthless, but no one has actually left to go to community employment that day. Or even raise their hands, so that I've heard of, because it's just it's not meaningful. So we just asked them to come up with a plan that's meaningful, that helps people really understand what the options are.
Some are doing them with putting jobs in others.
So, Blue Valley, very excited. They finally got their contract with KCRO. It was tricky. It took a bit, but I think being a workshop, that was one thing, and I don't know, it just long process, they changed processes, I don't know, and so. Anyway, they're really excited to get started. They still have to learn some system stuff and some training things, they're getting under the belt, but. And then CDD asked us for funding for a nurse, but when I looked at the documentation last quarter was not stuff that I would think that a nurse would be doing. And then again, so this quarter, we kind of talked about improvements and the outcomes were, it was supposed to be actually for looking at the medications, making assessments of medical conditions and making sure that their staff were trained to provide the kind of supports, but they're putting Band-Aids on and calling guardians and things like that. So I've got a meeting set up with them too. Yeah. They're not billing us, but you know, here and there, so the amount of billing is pretty low. And then their computers have been ordered for CDD. It's the Rainbow locations, but they've got them ordered, they're coming in, it's just been a process for them to get those in order, so that's gonna be exciting for them. ACE in Jackson County, I think I missed a sentence. We're helping them to really rethink some of their supports through ACE and just how can we make them more inclusive? What things can you do? So we've been working with them on that. I don't know what else I meant to say there, but it was really smart, I'm sure.
ACE said that they have new things coming out for the fall calendar.
So I looked at the fall calendar and I think they're trying to take their classes and turn them into teaching moments to teach people how to get into community. I didn't see that change when I glanced at it. So we'll see how that transpires and into the classes. Yep. And then I just have a few stories. Duncan got stories from outsiders. He moved from New York City and he was really connected there, and he came and he selected Farmer's House and he came in kind of not real thrilled about the whole thing. Didn't think he was gonna like it, really didn't want to stay. And after 9 months, he's like super happy, really connected. they spend like 80% of their time out in community doing things, of their day programmed out all the time. And so he really enjoys it. He's really into trains, so he's got to do a lot with his love of trains and things like that, so.
Does he have family here?
I'm here with his parents, yeah. And then I believe that some of the board members got to see Southeast, actually provided some of the service from KU. Their OTs are, doing a lot of, great work with the folks, creating training programs to teach them about work skills and all kinds of things, but, Amanda got to see it in action, so it was neat to see people came back to tell about their jobs.
It was like a, yeah, jobs club. It's like, you wanna learn about what we do, ask us any question. It's for the, maybe associates on the move. Program where we do a lot of different things in the community, so. Folks who work in the workshop full-time, we're getting to talk to people about what it's like to have a job out in the community. It's been
And some of these classes are peer led, so it's just similar to that. It's really neat to see that they're teaching each other. And then that very bottom one is Nicole Martin's always shining. She's always gonna be the front of the room, having a good time. So she's one of our people first members. And then exceptional humans, I didn't put the story here, I just wanted to tell you, it's another lady that came from Nebraska, but her story was pretty sad. She was in some type of residential facility. Came here only watching YouTube videos of heavy equipment. Really didn't engage with other people, really fantastic artists. And joined Exceptional Humans, and at first there was a lot of like crying and yelling and unhappy, wanting what she wanted, having to have clocks in rooms and know what time it is and follow the schedule. And now she's just like, just blossoms. Like that, she's out and she's doing things, she's getting to use her art. And she's met with experts, like I can't remember the name of the gentleman who does architectural stuff, and so she got to meet him. So they're bringing people in and taking her out to find ways to utilize her art. So very cool, pretty neat. Yeah, it's fun to go there if you ever get to visit. It's a fun place to go.
Where they located at?
They're over in Brookside, and they're right under a restaurant, and I cannot remember the name of the restaurant, but I have to find out. So I'm sure they would love to get up on it. It's a building that has different offices, and they have a strip of offices that they really cutified. It's in Brookside area. It's kind of a fancy looking restaurant. I know, right? Yes, now I gotta look at that. Oh my gosh, look it up. Her address is some. Were there any questions or concerns that you wanted to talk about?
I think so, looks like things are going well.
They're going well. They're going real well.
Very good. Thank you, Tracy. Who's up?
Come up here, so my voice can.
They don't bite.
I was gonna say.
I guess I'm putting a lot on the line there.
Oh, no, maybe I should have said
In the
Okay,
shower.
that's good, that's good. So I first wanted to talk about I wanted to talk about the two major functions of community outreach, the people that we support, and then also all of the activities that we've done in the community. Which I'm super excited to talk about that because we have done a ton of things in the community this past quarter. But first, I wanted to talk about the people that we are supporting. So we completed 26 new intakes, which means that we were able to contact 26 people, do the initial needs assessment, and then assign the person for support. That is consistent with last quarter, with first quarter, I should say. And so the average number of people that we supported per month was 134. I do have to admit, this number is different than the number I quoted in the board report. I miscalculated the number. My math skills. Sorry, my math skills. So I realized that whenever I was, whenever I was putting together this information, so it's really 134. Request for resource information from TCM is 52, so that is literally double the number of first quarter.
And what is that?
And so the number from first quarter was
Sorry.
20.
What does that mean?
Oh, sorry. So that, our requests from support coordination, for our community resources coordinator, Sam Smith, our autism resources specialist, Jenny Taylor, and, our community health resource specialist, Jasmine McCrary. Oh, yes, yeah, that's it. So for all of them. So Jenny was out, until the beginning of the second quarter. And so the number of referrals that we got for her, really increased, obviously, whenever she returned. And then the number of, referrals for Sam as well really increased. It went from 19 first quarter to 32 for second quarter.
And the
So,
themes there, and what people are wanting help with.
yes,
And see, I asked you all the hard questions.
I put that in the border for, I didn't think
It's
to,
usually mental health and
it is, yeah, it's
Okay.
typically, yeah, mental health, emergency assistance. It really, I think, goes with the times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, so it was exciting to see so many, additional requests for information.
Utilizing.
Exactly, yeah, I love that we're able to support people directly in our department and then support people in support coordination as well. And then I love that we're able to support people in the community. Anybody can call from the community and we provide resource information. So that number is 64. It's pretty consistent with what we received, for the quarter as well. And so the number of new community resources that we discovered was 118. And so that's not, that's just new resources that we were able to discover. So I'm always really excited to see that number as well.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So like, so I was thinking about what Tracy was talking about with like Transition Academy and having problems with their people that they're serving being part of the system. Is there like coordination with like the community outreach, which is usually that first contact, like from high school, which Transition Academy people like into our system? I'm just wondering if there's like,
Oh, a way.
is
to
there like a
connect,
coordination,
that,
a
anything like that?
coordination of effort there? Because it seems like the Transition Academy is to get connected into, you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, for Transition Academy, I think it's been difficult for them to interact with the families. Correct? We're doing some things within the school, but they went out for home visits and done some of that. They've had that time getting. But I'm still trying to even get what else reasons are.
I mean, because I know that they don't, that kind of community outreach thing was kind of linked to that transition thing. That when parents, you know, you're in high school and then working into the adult system, you know, that flow. And I know that that was one of our reasons for funding like Transition Academy, is helping with that. And really wasn't that long ago that then we did the community outreach, because to kind of bridge that where people don't have Medicaid.
Yeah, and so these are groups that aren't within the regional office. They're of the 20-some names that we were given for the regional office. So they wouldn't even come into community outreach yet. They're just being served in Transition Academy. Part of their grant is to connect people to the regional office and get them in the system, which they have. They're talking about a plan that could help with that. But we need to see it happening right now.
Okay, so I mean,
Yeah, so as far as
it's a bigger break than just.
it is, but what it was nice to see with, we funded Exceptional Humans this year, and they sent 3 people over to, Jennifer Jones Organization Human Resources. And this morning Kelly just called to say she agreed about the family that called back to say how happy they were, you know, she had just done all the things they needed her to do. So I think between our community outreach and human and some of the district funding, we're definitely reaching more families than we ever did before. We're still trying to figure some things out.
You need to
Yeah.
interrupt your flow. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so then I also wanted to talk about, some of the events that we have gone out, to represent EPOS at. These are pictures of some of the events, the full list of events, and things that we've done in communities in the board report. But these are the pictures that we've gotten from some of the events. So the left, upper left-hand corner is the KC Diversity College and Career Fair. So Juanita Robertson, our community outreach specialist, and Jennifer Seidel, our benefit specialist, attended to talk to people about applying for Medicaid and SSI and SSDI. And then our community health resource specialist, Jasmine Perry, and Sam Staff, our community resources coordinator, also attended to give information out about ETOS. It was a full day event, daytime and evening, and so that's why there were so many of my team there. Then the middle picture at the top is Jenny Kaler at our Lee Summit School District Resource Fair. So she was able to represent ETOS at that and give out information. The upper right-hand corner is Sam Stepp and Juanita Robertson and Jasmine McCrary at the KC Prep Career Day. So that was very different. That was, they talked about their positions to students, to elementary school students. We were approached about doing that. We decided that it would be a good idea because it's in the community and it's talking about ETOS and positions within social services. And so I think that this was really especially important because of attitudinal accessibility as well. Because it really, I think, opened the minds of students with talking about people with disabilities and thinking about people with disabilities. So I think that was really important. The middle left picture is the Eastern Jackson County Transition Fair. That actually is the middle left and the middle picture. So Juanita Robertson and Jennifer Seidel both attended that. Jennifer did a presentation about ETOS supports and services. And then Juanita and Jennifer both gave out resources or gave out information about ETOS. What I'd like to mention as well with Juanita, she was able to provide translation services to a Spanish-speaking family. And so she was able to help navigate the Spanish-speaking family around to talk to the different vendors and obviously gave them information about ETOS as well. So that was neat. The right middle picture is Jenny Kaler. She gave a presentation to chiropractic students at Cleveland University about autism and how to support patients with autism, the different considerations that people with autism have. The lower left corner is Sam Stepp and Juanita Robertson at the Deafblind Awareness and Helen Keller celebration. So Sam represents ETOS on the Greater Kansas City Deafblind Collaborative. And so he was asked to participate in this event as well. And so it was, yeah. So it's neat to see the variety, I think, of events that we're getting out to. And then the lower middle and lower right corner are pictures from our Jackson County Resource Fair for Digital Safety. So Jasmine McCrary really coordinated this. This is the first event that our department has put together and done, and it was really exciting. Jasmine really took the lead on it and put it together. And so there were 6 vendors there that did presentations and then also gave out information about what they do. We partnered with Missouri Assistive Technology, so obviously we're there. The public library was there. A business that does that signs people up for the Affordable Connectivity Program, the discounted program for internet. They were there. Goodness, there's a couple that I'm missing. But yeah, and so it was a really wonderful event, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to do more of those types of events.
Did you have good attendance?
We unfortunately did not. We did not. But I think, I don't know, it was a learning experience. It was the first one that we've done, and yeah, I'm hoping that will change.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a really neat event. So that is it.
So thinking of your demographics of the people you serve, how many people are under the age of 25? Yeah. For sure, 50%, is it 75%?
Yeah, I was gonna say at least 50%.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that we responded to the question there about transition and how that's going. So many children are being served through community outreach. So the autism service, 54% of the people community outreach serves have autism. And most of them are young. So I think that's a really great, not even waiting for transition, they're knowing about us before that. But I like the point. Yeah, I like that point that you made about how we're connecting people at that transition age intentionally across all the.
You're right, that's begin. Lots sooner than.
Yeah, we hope it starts earlier.
Must be a lot sooner than undergrad.
We're doing better. Yep, and some of it, basically Jennifer Fuelman's in that program are helping
Yes.
find people as well and get them, because you have to go to the regional office, right? So it's like, hi, we're East House, we want to help you, but go to the regional office first.
Yeah.
But we could do a little bit of this while you're waiting.
It's coming up usually.
Yes. We did this quarter that we did the not health fair, the transition fair at Children's Mercy. When was that? Is that this quarter? June. Gosh, it seems so much longer ago. And that was really fantastic too, because that was transition age. And so many of the people we funded were there. It was awesome. Yeah.
And they did a pretty good turnout, hopefully. That has been an annual thing up till COVID, so hopefully.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
And then we also did a presentation to the social work department at Children's Mercy. Yes. So, yeah, and I'm hoping that will be, I want that to be an annual thing.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Cool.
I like that, but.
Sure. The van with the smart.
Dan took a bunch of glamour shots of our vessel.
Yeah. That's a great graphic when you did that.
Yeah,
That doesn't-
I did that. Maybe that was photoshopped or. Okay, great. All right, I'm assuming Roger is somewhere behind there.
Yes, good evening, everyone. You guys stole my opening line. I was gonna thank Dan again for this awesome photograph of our vehicle down at City Market, and there's several in his file that they're glamour shots. And thanks again, Dan. Those are awesome. They're just really a great photo. I extended this out a little bit, so it might be just a little bit deformed, but it's a great photograph.
I was trying to figure out how to make you bigger, Roger. But I'm failing. Sorry, I wanted to have your face so people could really see you.
That's
So
I'm not much to look at, so that's So going into our second quarter, we had a nice increase of completed routes or completed one-way trips during the second quarter. Our total for the quarter was 24,054. That's up 5.7% from last quarter. Now, we've been seeing a gradual increase as the quarters go on, and it usually 2.5%, maybe 3%, but this was a nice bump. A lot of it's attributed to, however, is you know, you got the summer months, and we're picking up a few more advanced call trips that we normally wouldn't have, and we've also had a few people actually that are, you know, wanting to start college, and so there's a lot more activity during this time of the year. But we anticipate, or we hope, that if we continue with this trend, this is based on a 5.7% increase, that we're gonna hit 25,000 trips or more by the end of the third quarter. One note, we are planning to add an additional route, an additional flex route, or hopefully by next week. So we're just waiting on finalizing the hiring of a new driver, and we got it developed and ready to go. We're just ready to implement it, get people off the wait list.
And how many people does that get off the wait list?
That's going to be between 16 and 14 people. So we're still not sure yet. I think it's 16 is that's the number. But that's going to translate to you know, X number of trips per week times 2 times a month. That's going to look like probably 400 or so. My math's off, but it's going to be around another additional 400 trips per quarter. Our performance objectives for the second quarter were good. There was a decline in our safe driving practices, and mainly because the month of May, we didn't meet our target. We were at 64%. Our target is 90. May, we for whatever reason picked up on a lot of drivers that we had to issue verbal warnings for using their you know, their Bluetooth, or not using a blinker, or just things that they've done repetitively, and that impacted our performance. The reason that, and so our performance for the quarter was 82.4. So we fell short of the 90, but what's encouraging is that in June, that number went back up to 90%. So it really showed that there was an improvement there, and we were picking up things, and that the coaching and the verbals are working. Passenger ride time, we want to be at 75 percentile. April, we were at 94, May was at 91, and June was steady at 91. We do have a couple of passengers, a handful of passengers that are over that 90-minute or that 60-minute ride time. And we have 2 that are actually closer, just beyond that 90-minute ride time. So we're working on getting those reduced and getting those individuals under 60 minutes, at or under 60 minutes. Vehicle availability, our maintenance department continue to do an awesome job of keeping our vehicles roadworthy. We're at 90. We want to hit a 90% performance target. In April, we were at 100, May was 97, and June we were at 94. There's a decline. It's indicative of the time of year. AC units are being reflushed, and there's typical maintenance that or inspections that happen during the month of May and June. So that's pretty normal. Service cancellation. We were hoping to hit 100% in April, May, and June, but unfortunately in April we were at 94%, which is above the 75% mark. I believe we canceled one route and a half of another one during a day in April. But February and March, not May and June, we were at 100%. And that's because of the new hirings, the new staff, the new drivers we have on, the addition of the 2 new spares and route drivers. You know, that's really helped us out in that area. Transportation requests, they're being processed within the first 10 days. I refer back to this, that it used to be 30 days. We dropped that down to 10. Our intake coordinator is doing a great job of getting those processed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they were placed. It just means that the intake was taken, it was evaluated, a route was looked for, or we searched for a route to place the individual on. And they're either placed or they're put on the wait list, or we try to find an alternative means of transportation. But we're still 100%. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are we making contact with the families or referrals within those 10 days?
Yes.
Okay.
So once we get that intake, if we're not able to place those individuals, the intake coordinator is contacting the family to let them know we don't have anything within our spectrum or our service that we can provide, but they're going to look at additional or other agencies. We used to sub out to Checker Cab, and right now they're just not answering our phone calls. They are really short-staffed, and so they're having a hard time. A lot of our referrals go to Ride KC Freedom, and so we try to make placement there. Yeah, we do communicate with the families initially when we first get those intakes, and whatever that determination is found or is communicated directly to the family within those 10 days.
Very good. I just want to make sure that they're not making the referral and then going to an empty hole and not getting any word back.
Right. Yes. No. Yeah. They are. They're being notified. So we're moving forward on the installation. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Our surveys. So we're actively processing phone surveys on a monthly basis. And last quarter, I'm sorry, we totaled out, we just started the process and we had a total of 17. This quarter, we were able to complete 57 phone surveys. Of those 57, you can see the report. In the report, it has the actual questions and the answers. On most of these, we either received an always or usually response. There were a couple that had a sometimes, and I believe there was one that had 3 rarely and 1 never. So we're trying, and that was the question: are you informed of any route changes or delays in a timely manner? And so we suspect that it's regarding the time change, not the time change, but delays, either vehicles running late or what have you. That seems to coincide with our phone complaints or complaints that we get from riders or from families regarding ETAs on their vehicle, on their loved one's vehicle. And so it kind of coincides with that question. But for the most part, we did well. We're moving forward with the installation of the upgrade of our vehicle cameras and tracking system, with the advanced features, the facial recognition, and the immediate the notification. The way that works is if there's an issue with facial recognition or something is picked up on, the system will send a text or an email to whoever we list as the replying party. So it'll send it. We'll have it set up so it's sending that in text or that message to each of our supervisors, including myself, and then we can do follow up. When we first get the system going, there's going to be a lot of adjustment and tweaks that we're going to have to do to it, because I'm almost certain that we're going to have a few hundred emails or texts coming to us because we don't have the parameters set yet. So you can adjust the system so that if a person's looking down at their phone, for instance, it's not they're answering a response or they're picking up their key or they drop something and they just look down for a second or so. It's not gonna hit them. You can actually set the number of seconds for delay and then have that response sent to you. So that's it's a work in progress, but once we get the system in and we get the training done, we'll have a much clearer understanding of how to set those parameters and have the system work for us properly. Got hired 2 new drivers during this past quarter that, these 2 additions are filling voids or vacancies left behind by a driver who resigned earlier in the year, and then a need that we had for a spare. Again, that's those new hires really impacted our one of our clearest objectives, which was the cancellation frequency, and helping us eliminate that and lower that. The other note here that's very important, and I think it's exciting that we finally got it. We applied for our USDOT number back in June 21st, and we were finally granted it on August 4th. We have the actual number, and I listed that in the report. There is a bit of a glitch in that the agency that we hired to file on our behalf listed us as Developmental Disabilities of Johnson County and not Jackson. And this was after we had corrected them at least 2 or 3 different times. I know I did in 2 emails, and I know Claudette did as well, at least once. The issue is if they can go in and cancel the filing and start that whole process again, or we could simply wait to get our PIN number, go in with the PIN number and the login information, and just simply change Johnson to Jackson, and that would be it. So we're going to wait for the PIN number to come in, and then we'll go take that road. I think that's going to be much easier and much quicker. Once that's completed, then we can go out and get our decals, get the decals on the vehicle. What that means for us, basically, in service, is that we're going to be able to transport people across state lines into Kansas. There's going to be I think it's going to broaden the possibility of job opportunities for the people that we serve over in Kansas. I'm sure Overland Park, there's a lot of need. Olathe, and probably some spots in Lenexa. So we're excited about that. It's going to be a gradual step, but we hope to have the decals and everything up and running hopefully by the end of September. So we'll be ready to go with that. I think the only thing I have left is staff. So we continue to meet with Tammy Ogren as we continue to work towards our becoming a higher functioning team, working together. And a conversation I had with supervisors last week, the consensus was that we've made I feel, and we all felt this way, that we're at a 180 right now. We've completely turned this thing around.
Right.
Now there's still work to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, great.
Thank you. There's still work to be done, and we still have we still got a ways to go, but we're making great progress. We've even had some staff who normally don't participate or are engaged with us are now members of our assessment team. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Amanda.
Not influencer group.
Not influencers. Thank you. So that was eye-opening, I think, for a lot of us, and we were really excited about that. Current job openings: we have a spare driver position available, 2 route, which actually we call them route, but they're actually advanced call. They're going to be flex routes. 1 automotive technician that Joe is still looking for, and we have a bus washer. Dwayne resigned after being with us for, I believe, 9 years or so. Yeah, he moved on. We hated to see him go. We got him a nice cake and threw him a little party, but so now we have that void, and we're actively we've posted that job opening, and so we're actively looking for someone to fill it from one of our providers. An update since drafting this report is that we actually have another spare position open. Unfortunately, a spare that we just recently hired. She was with us about a week and a half. Decided to resign. She felt just, she was more comfortable driving school buses and felt that was just a better situation for her. And so I believe that's what she's gonna go do, and she's headed back to that. But I think that's about it. Do we have any questions?
Roger, I have a couple of questions. When you're talking about the number of trips that we've completed, can you recall, I mean, I'm not looking for specific numbers, but how that compares with the pre-COVID number of trips? Are we back anywhere to where we were before?
It represents, we're really close. I'm sorry, I wish I could give you an exact number. But we're really close. We used to measure it in terms of how many people we actively serve and have on our roster. And right now, I think in my report, it said we on the total number of trips, it represented 284 passengers. Our actual log is over 330 passengers, but not all of them are currently riding. So I just want to clarify that they're not all currently riding. They're still on our logs. We're waiting to see whether they're going to come back or not. There's been some hint that they are, and then then we don't get any follow-up. And so Amy is still constantly pursuing those. But we are not, I don't think we're back to pre-COVID at the height of we're not back to that, but we are close. We are close. And I'm hoping with the addition of the new flex routes that we'll be back there. We'll be back at pre-COVID numbers.
Then another question on this opening up the routes to Kansas, does this create a new problem of more people wanting to ride, more people on a wait list? Like it's like this whole circular issue.
Well, it will depend. I anticipate that most of those, if those trips present themselves, they're probably going to be mid-morning, maybe mid-afternoon type shifts for people, either between the hours of, I'm hoping, 10 and 1 o'clock, which is a big void for us right now. We can service that time frame or that time segment because most of our trips right now are 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then we have the afternoon group that starts at 2 and gets off at 5. So our hope is that we'll be able to accommodate that. We'll have a greater number of people applying for that midday range. In terms of it causing any problems for us, I don't think so. As we continue to add on flex routes, we can accommodate those permanent positions and provide the transportation needed into Kansas. I'm hoping that most of the jobs most of the employment that takes place in Kansas are again in that midday range that we can easily service right now.
Okay, that would be great. And I'm kind of curious about this software. Is there any, like, I know there's lots of competition for these jobs between the school districts and the KCATA. Is this similar software that those organizations have? Is there a fear maybe among employees of, in this intrusive software? I'm just kind of curious how that's met.
Are you talking about the facial recognition?
Yes.
No, that's we're kind of behind the
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're kind of lagging a little bit. Our system's about 11 or 12 years old, and so there's been a lot of advances. Facial recognition is pretty much the norm. It's an industry standard right now, and so we're just now getting into it. So no, I think as it pertains to drivers, they understand the technology and they're comfortable with it. I think that most of the school bus agencies, and I just haven't communicated with all of them, so I don't know, but I think that they're either they have it now or they're going to have it. So it's not, it doesn't make us it doesn't give us a disadvantage as far as competing for new staff.
Okay, that's good to know.
I want you to know, Roger and I just recently had a meeting where we were talking about the numbers earlier from pre-COVID compared to
Yeah.
now. I have those on the top of my head. Last year, we provided right short of 100,000 rides. It was like 90, it was really close to that. In 2019, it was 130 something.
Oh,
So we're still short.
Yeah.
But that was a dramatic increase from years ago.
thank you. Thank you, Roger.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Roger. All right, support coordination. Bum, 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 bum. I think, all right, I think we're like first.
So Stephen could not be here, but Stephen Hatch is the Team 7-6 supervisor. And he started the vision and started the bilingual FAT. And so it's been something he's been pretty passionate over the last couple of years, and it has grown tremendously. And there's a lot of great work that they're doing. And so we invited Mike here to kind of talk about it and what the team's been doing.
Okay. So, thank you. So one of the groups, that I first started with, I actually went to a Maddie Rhodes, community engagement event. And, I was able to connect, with someone there that had a community collective coming up. And they invited me to be a part of that. And that's addressing disparities in Black and Latinx youth with IDD. That group meets monthly, and the objective of that group is to develop like patient, community cultured outcomes that research like the disparities that the Black and Latinx communities face for the youth with IDD. I have been to 2 meetings. The first meeting was just a getting to know you kind of session. And then the second meeting was watching a film and then discussing after. We have been asked, those members of that collective, for us to keep that whatever happens within the meeting stays there. So not too much can be revealed about that. But I am really enjoying being a part of that group, and that's a 2-year project. So it's not, it just started 2 months. Another group that I was able to connect with is Revolución Educativa, which means education revolution. And I just was able to connect with them because some of the families that I serve, I asked them if they were part of any groups or was there anything in the community that they were active with. And 3 of the families that I serve actually brought up this group to me. And that group, they serve the community and make sure that the families, they're advocates for anything with special education in the community. I attended one meeting in July. And that meeting, it was more of a conversation. I was able to meet with 18 families. And 15 of those families had not heard of DTOS before. So I was able to provide information about targeted case management, support coordination, and what that meant for the families if they were with KCRO, which half of those families were not even with KCRO. So, or I think a little bit more than half of the families were not with KCRO. So
I was able to provide information about KCRO in order for them to come to ETOS. And really it was for those, families that had questions about what KCRO provides, and even had questions about what ETOS provided. I provided clarification about that. We don't provide monetary funds, we don't provide food, things like that, which is what a lot of the families look for most of the time.
Are a lot of the families that you see, not Medicaid eligible?
I think only 2 of the families that were there were not Medicaid eligible. So the majority of them were.
The families in getting any support coordination goals.
Nothing,
How do we miss these people?
exactly.
Because we haven't had a chance to do this. And so, and
And I think,
you'll explain the cultural and.
yeah,
It's just-
I think within the community, I want to be very, I don't want to say something that is not,
You can say, it.
cul-
yeah.
culturally,
Oh.
you know, I'm like, I don't want to say something that is going to sound,
Like you want to be political?
yes, like a stereotype, but
Oh, correct.
politically correct, right? But the culture, there is a divide between wanting, needing, and speaking out. And a lot of the families, they don't want that. So it was important to me when I went with this group for me to sit and have a conversation. I didn't want to be a presenter of information. I wanted to be a part of the community. Yeah. So it was a conversation. It was more of, let's have snacks together, have some drinks. You have questions, let me answer them. I didn't want to be someone that they see as a social services worker. And that was really important. And it was very well received. I was very excited coming back from it, because the families at the end of the meeting, whenever we said, okay, it's time to go, because we went way beyond the time we were gonna be there. Everyone stood up and clapped. And I'm like, no, stop. Like, I'm just a part of you. I'm part of your community. I want to give you the information that you need. And they want me to go back. And I was invited to go and be a part of an event in September at the Kansas City Zoo. Unfortunately, I have an event that day that I can't be there, but I was able to connect Juanita Robertson to that, and she's gonna be present at that. So that's gonna be great, where ETOS is gonna have a table there. And hopefully in September at the monthly meeting for Revolucion, I will be able to attend. So.
So we have first, so Maria is our senior bilingual bicultural support coordinator. Prior to that, we had hired people who spoke Spanish that were white Americans, right? So which was great. We could provide at least information about their services, and what we are blessed with is to have someone who can connect with people and do what you're doing. So
Yeah, I can connect with them culturally, and it has been great, because when I come into the home, although they do see my Latino name, when I send them a text message, I'm the new support coordinator, or I'm contacting you because I wanted to talk to you about services or whatever it may be. When they hear my voice, when they hear my Spanish, it's very comforting to them, which is exciting to know that, you know.
This makes one wonder, how many people out there like this.
Such a,
It's shocking. to
you
hear
know,
this.
and I'm thinking, like, we're an agency of Jackson County, and this has been a really, really high priority within the county legislature this year, so I feel like this is just fitting right in. It's
But wait,
exciting.
there's more.
Wait, there's more.
Guys, how many have you taken from KCRO just recently that are?
So we were told for so long that we could not transition anyone from KCRO. But Georgie asked one more time before the regional office director retired, and she was like, sure, we will make sure that the Spanish speaking folks get over to ETOS. It was 50 people.
Oh my gosh.
Are
that's
coming,
wonderful.
because we have 4 bilinguals.
And what was that, like that kind of percentage increase from one year to the next when you add 50, that's like.
It might be close to double. It might
Double.
be. It might
I
be.
mean, that's like really the selling number, we doubled.
No. And
And
just,
from the information that we gathered from the MACDDS conference last year is that ETOS is the only TCM that has bilingual sport coordination in the state of Missouri.
we have, well,
And
and there
there
were a
was
couple other people,
one-
yeah, Columbia.
Yeah, there was one other agency, but per the information from the person working there at that TCM, they were not fluent in Spanish. So could not communicate very effectively with the families. So although they understood a lot, it was the speaking part that they had trouble with.
And it's so unfortunate because so many of our smaller rural communities
Yes, need that.
are having an influx of workers.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going back to next time, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's great. And so Juanita is working in Melinda's department, a big part of this effort as well.
there's a lot of collaboration between CRT and that team.
Yeah, that was fun.
You guys will see in my board reports, like that we actually have 4, our staff are put them in 4 times at next.
Maybe, yes.
And one of them is Maria.
And that's it.
Oh, Ricky. How long have you been on with the?
2 years.
2 years, great.
Sounds
Very.
They can dig in there.
Thank you.
Huge impact.
Thank you. I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you.
Very exciting. Thank you for sharing. No, she can't tell you.
Well. Do you guys have any questions? Shannon put together the report right before she was out, but if you guys have any questions, I can answer any of it. Some of the highlights she put on here about the average number that we're supporting. 1,700. It's been about 1,730 for the last couple of weeks. We're definitely on the high end. We've had 2 new SCs out of 4 new SCs out of 6 interviews. We have 3 new SCs starting on Monday and then 2 more the next Monday. Yeah. So we've had 12 total.
And nobody left in the last quarter, was that nice?
No, there was 1 month.
But our numbers kind of.
Yes, we've had people promote, we have lost 6, but we've had 3 promote and then we've hired 12 new for the year to date. So we're definitely balanced out.
Getting there. We're at 6 openings, which is full as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And
we're doing well.
Paperwork. Is that correct?
Yeah, paperwork and just, the amount of paperwork and the constant change.
There's nothing we can do with it.
We could have some control over constant change once we stop changing caseloads all the time because we have turnover. So, and the more support coordinators we have, the lower the caseloads go. So we're close, once the rest of these folks starting to saying, we have enough people. I mean, right, I'm gonna regret saying that out loud. Enough people to serve to correct caseloads, right? So what an amazing switch, from where we were this time last year. So, of course, we are fine, even if people will move on, that we don't have to
Always
stay,
gonna happen.
yeah, exactly. So,
But it's that big drop that we had last year.
yeah, so that will help some, because what we've heard from support coordinators is it's so hard to learn new people all the time,
Yeah.
plus all the change that's so constant in our field.
And I think we've heard that feedback in the last year, so we have made an effort to say, we're not actually gonna get you lower right now, we're gonna give you consistency, because we might get something lower and then somebody leaves and we're just backfilling. So we've really heard that, and I've seen kind of a change and shift where we're respecting that. You may run a little bit higher, but it's not good people, it's, you're learning to do your job with the caseload and the people you know.
We're really trying to track the number of times people have to change support coordinators.
Well, it's done for
Everybody, yeah, because we do not want people to go through all that.
Great.
So you guys got to hear about the community collaboration between the Hispanic community and the TCM collaboration. It's really amazing. We did fill the transition coordinator position and she is doing fantastic. The May 11th, our public emergency expired. So really the big thing for us was no focus signatures anymore. That was our biggest change, but we were already kind of back to the norm prior to that. And then we started transitioning. We have 30 on here, but it was close to 50 individuals that are primarily Spanish speaking from K0, and they want to send more. I recently was told that, so they have more that they want to send. We just didn't have enough.
Yeah. Recruits.
Yes. I'm on that receiving end and I feel great for the families.
It is clearly, and we're really seeing some engagement and movement. So because we've stabilized a little bit, Maya has some time to go out and do that important work, that leadership. And all that stuff. So,
Are you working closely with Mighty Roads?
I am. It was through Maddie Rhodes that I was able to connect with the community collective. And I'm hoping that next month I have something with them. They're working on putting a group together of parents and just finding out what's needed in the community. Just kind of information, obtaining information, and I will be a part of that if it comes through. So,
yeah, still holding down the fort, while Shannon's out for a little while, she'll be back.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, wonderful.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So this for the second quarter, we've had quite a bit of stuff going on, and I kind of want to just talk about Amanda said now that we're slowing down. Just to throw this out here, it's not part of there, but as of right now, the field trainers have supported 20 new SCs this year thus far, and it is only August. To give you an idea, last year there was 26.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So we've been very busy.
Yeah.
So, so as far as community and provider training, we've had an influx in the last actually about 2 months of inquiries from in either families or providers about having their loved ones or those who they support be able to attend either a level 1 med aid or a CPR first aid class, which I think is amazing. It's wonderful. We've had a couple people interested who attended job 1 that wanted to get CPR and first aid certified as part of some skills to put on a resume, things of that nature. As of right now, only one person that we're aware of that was supported by ETUS has been able to attend the CPR and first aid class. Actually, this was just recently. And this class is taught by our newest CPR and first aid contracted instructor. It's actually an agency called KC First Aid. The instructor's name was Ashley Snyder, and she's been very good. Because of her patience and the ability to make all of her lessons accessible for this individual and help this person make it through all of the hands-on stuff and do all that, they passed and received their two-year first aid CPR certification with very little modifications, if any, to anything that was needed to be done to show competency in the first aid and CPR skills, which I thought was really great that she was able to support that person through it. At the beginning of the second quarter, I had the pleasure of presenting at Ability KC for their staff. did trauma and supporting individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities training with them. About 50 of their staff were able to make it on one of their professional development days. And that came about because there were 2 occupational therapists who had attended one of our ETOS or one of our classes that I had instructed at the end of last year. And they felt so highly of it, they took it back and felt they wanted to make sure all of their staff were supported in getting that training. So that was at the beginning of this last quarter. So that was our biggest piece for, those are our success stories for this last quarter on provider trainings. So go ahead.
Okay.
And then how we've impacted ETOS as a whole. As of right now, this is an amazing statistic, and I wanted to point it out that the field trainers have supported SCs to document with 98% accuracy, which has directly impacted the amount of billing that can be done. So 98% of their notes include information that is accurate, to the point, and does not impact the negatively on billing. So they can be billed at 100% with no issues, which has been really, really great to see. In the report that I wrote, I showed that this number, the way we're getting this number is a little bit different this quarter now. So we're strictly measuring if an SE writes a note that is free from reimbursement errors. So anything that Medicaid would recoup money for, we're looking to count those errors. And there's not very many, if any. And then we now have Shakara Pearson, who was the individual who actually did the PBS panel discussion with Amanda a while ago. She's now doing training with Amanda for new SCs to talk about what it's like to be her, what it's like to live as a person with a disability, what a good SC looks like, talk about what it's like to kind of navigate the system that's really complicated, and how she has been successful in doing what she has done and how she stands up for what she wants. So far, we've only been able to do this one time. Our next class just got scheduled today for the 1st of September for our next group of new SCs. It's my understanding, Amanda said that it went very well, the first training. So, and there were lots of good questions and lots of conversation, and it was a very positive experience. So I'm excited to see what happens moving forward with the rest of, with having her do this and potentially more. So overall, our training highlights is this, that we've increased the provider and community training enrollees and attendance rate from 74% first quarter to 77% second quarter. And I believe that that is directly related to the fact that we now have a no-show fee, which began in June 1st. And the no-show fee in June, our attendance rate went from 74% in May to 90% in June. So I suspect that third quarter we'll see that 77% jump up a lot higher, because people don't want to pay an additional $25 if they can get their training for free.
Right, that's right.
So as of first quarter, a field trainer supported 11 new SCs under 90 days for a total of 717.92 hours, which is a lot of hours. And then the new SCs averaged 94% on their 90-day benchmarks, which means that they are able to apply the information at a 94% accuracy rate. All the information that they've been trained by the field trainers, their mentors, their supervisors, all of that, they can do that at 94%. So I think that's all.
I think that was all too. Thank you.
There you go.
Questions, comments? I just want, I just had a little summary. Yeah, I'm really, really proud of everyone in operations. They work so hard every day. And I'm glad you're getting to see all the great stuff they're doing. So revenue wise, support coordination revenue has not been awesome, but second quarter it at least is exceeding expenses. So that's phenomenal. Yes, in the black. Yep, in the black by $14,000. And then the funding process information Tracy shared, I'm really excited for that to roll out. Just wanted to reiterate that. And I think we're seeing a lot of this living our mission through that. All the external advocacy. I hope you saw that theme showing up. It's really intentional and bringing, walking our talk more by having Shakira help us with training. And then we were able to replace, this will be highlighted next quarter, our peer resource specialist in Nicole Noblet is working with us, and she had a 19-page resume. So we're contracting with her and just a few hours a month, 20 hours a month, but we're hoping that grows and we really get to know how she's helping. She's working with Amy Newport in agency relations on some people first and advocacy group stuff. So I think by the end of the year, we're really going to see some impact there. Excited about that. And love that we've been able to hire drivers. We go Roger, and if you know any mechanics, please send them our way. Anyway, that's what we have for you. And wow, it's late. I apologize.
All right,
That's all good. All good stuff. Okay. Okay, any new business? Any old business? Any public comments? All right, that being said, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? All right, all those in favor of adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was very nice.
Thank you all.
Good.
We keep trying to make it better. So we're very